good morning, afternoon, noon, day, evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the monthly TSC meeting for OpenLineage. As a reminder, these meetings are being recorded, and the recordings will be uploaded to our wiki and YouTube channel following. And so we always like to kick off the meeting with a quick roll call so everyone knows who's who on the call, and it's a bit more friendly and we can have a nice and pleasant conversation. And so my first victim is Tomasz. Do you want to say hi?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tomasz. I'm an engineer at Get Data and OpenLineage contributor. Today, I'm presenting about Hive OpenLineage integration.
Thank you, Tomasz. Thank you for presenting today. Maciej.
Hi, I'm Maciej. I'm a software engineer at Datadog and OpenLineage committer, and I'm here to listen to the amazing talks.
Thanks for being here, Maciej. Luke.
Hey, I'm a implementation engineer at Atlan here because I'm interested in Spark OpenLineage more specifically, but I love everything that's happening in the OpenLineage community, so excited to continue listening and learning more.
Awesome to have you here again, Luke. Masi.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Masi. I'm a software engineer at Datadog, and I'm here to talk about DBT structured logs and what we have contributed to the community. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Masi. Looking forward. Dominique.
Hello, I'm Dominic. I'm a software engineer in Gating Data. Today I'm here to listen to Masi and Tomasz.
Thank you, Dominique. Michael.
Hey everybody. Hi Harel, thank you. Yeah, I'm here for the great talks as always, and OpenLineage contributor mainly in the areas of marketing, governance, and stuff like that.
Shiri.
I am Shiri Cabral, and I'm here to get my steps in. No, I'm at Capital One Software, where I'm a product manager for new use cases. I am here to listen and learn and have fun and also get my steps in.
Julian.
Hi, I'm Julian. I'm also at Datadog. I'm the project lead, and I'm here to listen in. I have to apologize. I have a conflict at the middle of the meeting, so I'll disappear at 10 Pacific. Sorry about that.
No forgiveness. Daniel.
Hi everyone, Daniel Rolls, founder and CEO of BearingNode. This month, I'm very much here to listen and hopefully steal 1 minute of any other business regarding OpenLineage compliance standards. So if that could happen, it would be greatly appreciated.
Perfect. Let's hope we get to it. We have a packed agenda today. Very excited for it. Sarab.
Hey guys, Saurabh here. I'm also implementation specialist at Atlan, getting started with OpenLineage, so I'm here to learn.
Great to have you here. All right, and I'll go last. Harel, engineering manager at Datadog, OpenLineage committer. So let's get on with the agenda for today. So as a reminder, we have a bunch of ways where you can find us on the interwebs, links here. But the agenda for today is, sorry, I could have fixed this. We're going to announce a few things, actually 2 announcements. One of them is happening tomorrow, so very cool. I'm going to go quickly through recent releases. This will be me reading a laundry list of pull requests. And then we'll get to the real meat of today's meeting, which are 2 amazing presentations, one by Masi on DBT structured logs, and how we are using that to emit OpenLineage events, and the other is about an Apache Hive integration contributed by Tomasz. So we have an OpenLineage meetup once again in the Warsaw offices of Google Cloud. So this is happening on April 3rd. If you are in Warsaw or planning to go to Warsaw or are around the area, you can go in person, but this will also be a hybrid virtual meetup as well, so you can join online. Super packed agenda there between GCP Composer migration to OpenLineage and adding more OpenLineage support to a bunch of Airflow operators, compatibility testing harness. Tomasz, maybe you want to talk about that as well. Maj is going to talk about how we connect OpenLineage with an observability ecosystem like a Datadog. Pavel, who's not here today but is frequently here, is going to talk about exposing metrics to Spark. So a lot of really, really great content. Highly recommend to attend. The second announcement, and I think this is tomorrow, there's an OpenLineage talk at the Move Data conference, a virtual free conference by Rahul from Atlan. So we have some of Rahul's friends from the Atlan team representing today, and we appreciate you being part of the community as well. All right, as promised, laundry list of releases. So we have two releases that happened in between the last TSC meeting and this one. A lot of progress on tag facets, both in Python and Java, thanks to Leo and Mache. There were a few changes in the Java client on the async circuit breaker, some timeout changes there. And it's now also supported in the Flink integration. There are a few bug fixes. Namely, I want to call out a new contributor here, Marquis C, who added a fix for null job manager address. Fixes on the DBT side. Thank you, Masi. Also fixes on the Spark side. So thank you, Dominic. Moving on, again, this is even more packed. So I'll just, again, kind of highlight here more added support on the Flink integration. Happy to see that we're making progress on the Flink integration for OpenLineage. Some changes to the client definition of how to disable facets on the config for Java. Again, want to highlight a first-time contributor, Sakjung, enabling Iceberg metrics reporting for Spark session catalog. Thank you. Welcome to the community. More fixes. Again, I'm not going to go through the full list, but you're welcome to review the recent releases and see what's new there. And now I will shut up and pass it to Masi. Masi, do you want to take over the presentation?
Yep. Let's go. So sharing my screen. You're able to see it.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So button. So here, yeah, I have the fancy laser pointer. So yeah, hello everyone. Once again, I'm Masi. I'm a software engineer at Datadog, and I'm here to talk about DBT structured logs. What are we going to see in this presentation? First, we are going to talk about DBT for those not familiar with it. We are going to talk also about how the DBT integration is generating OpenLineage events, the problems we saw in that technique, and the solution that we came up with for the structured logs. Comparison of the two, and we'll present how we are consuming those OAuth events in the Datadog product. So, what is DBT? DBT stands for Data Build Tool, and for this discussion, it's interesting to consider like two properties. The first one being the fact that DBT is a framework to execute SQL, and it abstracts the data platform it's communicating with via adapters. So here you can see like the Snowflake adapter, the BigQuery adapter. So that's one property. The second property is that SQL people, when they write their transformation, they don't have to worry about dependencies. So they write their SQL and then they use some functions to define dependencies, but being in the SQL. This allows the framework to figure out the dependencies and say, okay, model A has to be executed before model B, things like that. And so here you can see like the DBT DAG. For example, I took the example of like a Jaffle Shop, which is like a Hello World project on DBT site. So here you can see the DAG that DBT is constructing. You can see like the sources, you can see the models in yellow and the tests in green. So here and data flows from left to right. So yeah, that's the DAG constructed for the Jaffle Shop project. And so here talking about the DBT artifacts. So what do we mean by artifacts? So basically when you execute a DBT command, the command generates a bunch of files, and those are called artifacts. One interesting file is the manifest.json, and this is basically the encoded DAG that we just saw earlier. So we have the nodes here, the DBT nodes, the models, the tests, the seeds, all that. And we have the relationship between the nodes that allow us to draw the edges between the vertices. Another artifact that is useful is the run result.json. So basically when something is executed on the data platform and the DBT command finishes, we have a summary of the execution. So, and we have interesting info here. We have like the success of the execution. We have the unique ID of the model. Here, for example, it's taken of an execution of like the orders model. And here you can see like the compiled SQL of that model specifically, relation name and a bunch of other information. So here are going to see how our DBT OpenLineage events generated. So this is like considering the first technique before our contribution. So basically, what is done by the integration is that the DBT command is executed. Then the pipeline, we wait for the pipeline to finish. Then the artifacts are generated. Then those artifacts are consumed by the integration to generate OpenLineage events, and they are sent to the OL intake. So yeah, these things happen in sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so here we can see like some problems already of consuming the run results.json. The most obvious one is like the high latency. So basically the users, they have to wait for the DBT pipeline to completely finish before ever seeing the first OL event. Yeah. The other drawback or like a problem is that only DBT model SQL queries are forwarded by OpenLineage integration. What I mean by that is that only the SQL query that the user writes in their model is forwarded by the OpenLineage event. And DBT does way more than just like the SQL that the user writes. It executes a bunch of housekeeping queries, like creating the temporary table, putting the new data into the temporary table, then putting the content of that temporary table into the target table, bunch of that information. So here you can see an example of an OL event that is generated after consuming the run result.json, and you can see here the query, which is like the model SQL query. We don't see the other SQL queries. So is there another way to generate the DBT OpenLineage events? The answer is yes, otherwise we wouldn't be here doing the presentation. So yeah, the solution is the structured logs. So what are structured logs? These are structured DBT events. So they have in DBT core, they have like a protobuf that defines them. They are an interesting property also, it's that they are generated while DBT runs, and they are written in real time to both to two spots like the std out analog file. And another interesting property is that those events are sent at interesting life cycle moments of like different DBT nodes. So for example, they are sent when a DBT model starts, they are sent when a SQL query starts or is executed, things like that. So here we can see an example of those structured logs. For example, when we consider this DBT command, select orders for just the orders model. So we can see in the green box, green boxes like when the command starts, when the command finishes, and then for the node for the orders, same when the node starts and when the node finishes. And the interesting also part is like the SQL queries. We can see all of them this time, all the SQL queries executed by DBT. So here, how do we consume the structured logs? So this time, the integration runs the DBT command, but at the same time, the DBT command outputs the logs, and the integration continuously consumes those logs to generate the OpenLineage events and send them to the OpenLineage intake. Yeah. Now a comparison between the two, between the structured logs and the run result.json. So here, in terms of like OpenLineage events, I've removed quite a bunch of stuff, but here you can see for run result.json, we have the to start and complete for the DBT command, and we have the start and complete for the node. And here we can see the SQL facet, like the query, the SQL query of the model. Now, when consuming structured logs, we have like more events. We have still like in the result.json, the events for like the comment start, comment finish, node start, node finish. But we have also all the SQL, we have OpenLineage events for the SQL as well. So here we can have like, we see the begin for like begin transaction. And here we see also some housekeeping queries, drop table. So now in the Datadog product, how do we use these OpenLineage events and the comparison between the two? So here with the run result.json, we have a trace here. Oh, same, it's like the Jaffle shop, and I'm targeting like the orders model. And here you can see like one root trace for the DBT command and subsequent trace for the orders model. Here we are not seeing the SQL queries, what we see with structured logs. So here, same, like the DBT command, then the Jaffle shop orders, like for the model. And then here, interesting part is we see like all the SQL queries, and we have observability from DBT command down to the data platform. Same here, more here. This time, yeah, I built the entire Jaffle shop project. So here you can see all the models that have been executed, and we can go further to see like the SQL in every model. And here you see here I've used like thread one, meaning like there was only one thread that executed these models or these nodes. Something that we changed here this time, it's not the waterfall but the flame graph. But here something interesting Maciej suggested, so it's just adding 2 threads instead of 1. And here you can see something interesting. Yeah, we can see that for example, here the models are there are 2 threads executing the models. So shop orders, shop customers here, and we have the SQL just below, and we have that every time here. Yes. So now a little summary for this is there are 2 techniques. For the structured logs provides like low latency, so events are sent in real time. The run result.json has high latency, so we wait for the artifacts to be generated. The granularity is high in terms of SQL queries. For like the structured logs, we have like all the picture. We have the picture of all the queries that are executed. For the run result, we have only the the SQL of the model. And in terms of SQL platform, both techniques are like data platform agnostic. So the example I've showed are on Postgres, but we are using it in my organization on Snowflake. We have tests also like on DuckDB. So it's like as long as the data platform is SQL, we can get those SQL queries. So for the next steps, so the next step is to have even more visibility into the data platform. So OpenLineage could include the query ID, the byte scanned, the queue time, compile time, depending on the underlying data platform. Also, we can think of standardization for DBT. Does it make sense to have both ways, the artifacts and structured logs? OpenLineage also could be integrated to DBT. That would allow DBT users to benefit from OpenLineage out of the box, a little bit like what is done with Airflow today. So yeah, we would integrate that there. Yeah, now for links, if you want to explore more. So this one is linked to structured logs. You can see the structure of the events and all that. And here, this is the main PR that introduced the consumption of structured logs in the OpenLineage repository. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. This is great. Nice.
Thank you.
Masi, does this work for DBT Core and Cloud?
So very good question. This works for DBT Core. We didn't tackle
Okay.
DBT Cloud yet.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think this also provides an answer for one of those proposals before. I think we still need both ways because we can't have structured logs for DBT Cloud, I think, and Airflow like integration with DBT Cloud relies on it. So I think while we can make it the default mode for DBT Core, it's still nice to have both options, I guess.
Well, if we
yeah.
can get it native to DBT, then they could offer it as part of their core functionality.
Of course, yeah. That's just talking about like current situation that we have. True.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
We have an open issue with DBT Core on this. Wow.
Okay. And how are they like, do they accept contribution easily? I mean, because the way I've seen it, from what I've understood in their code base, there is like very targeted portions where the structured logs are emitted. So I'm thinking, okay, we will do like a double write, right? Like, so they will emit the structured logs, but we can also add OpenLineage code to emit to convert those structured logs into OpenLineage events. So just wondering, how are they willing to accept contributions?
I think they are willing to accept contribution. There are certain, obviously, it's you need to have a conversation with them on what's the best way to do this. I think some guiding principles they had for DBT so far is that DBT doesn't execute user code, right? Like, so for example, DBT generates those SQL, and this SQL, they get executed on Snowflake or BigQuery or whatever warehouse you're using. And similarly, when they added the feature of Python, the Python is executed somewhere else, right? It's not executed in DBT. So there's this purity, or there's no user code plugin in it, right? So that in the past, when we talked a little bit about having OpenLineage plugins, there's kind of this reluctancy to make a plugin model where you can run user code in DBT because they like the purity of generating things that get executed somewhere else. But that being said, I think there's, like, for example, some of the work in Airflow has been like decoupling the OpenLineage and calling an external API and converting things to a different process. So DBT, you could also like have a clean separation like this with this model. So I think it's worth having a conversation with them. Also with, in the past, we talked with them like 3 years ago, I think. So OpenLineage has grown a lot in terms of adoption. And also there's a clear limited execution model, right? You're basically converting and sending HTTP posts like JSON events, right? So it's not like it's doing a lot of computation. So I think there's a good discussion to be having on, okay, like how much can we make this built-in? I think it would make a ton of sense to have this built-in, this whole logic live in dbt itself.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think it's a good conversation to have with the dbt maintainers on what they think is the best way to do this.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Any-
great. And we can also take that conversation to the DBT community Slack channel and see what the feedback from that community is.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Good to know. Yeah, I can see if like I can start that conversation. At least we'll have some leads on the way we can integrate that work into DBT itself. It would allow us to hit like two birds with one stone. So basically, it will be available for DBT core, for cloud, and also everyone using DBT.
Agreed. And yeah, we have more consumers supporting OpenLineage natively. There's more reasons to do it today. All right, Tomasz, you want to go next?
Yep. Yeah, so my presentation is about the OpenLineage Hive integration. And one thing I noticed on Masi's presentation, he actually explained what DBT is. And I was kind of assuming that, you know, like in definition, like there is a old definition of a horse. Sorry, there is a definition of a word horse in old Polish dictionaries, like really old, where basically the definition is everyone knows what a horse is, right? So I went with that assumption and not really focused on what is Apache Hive. Yeah, so to the point. Yeah, so what do we have? Right now, there is a working Hive integration that we are basically making work with our CI processes on OpenLineage repository. And there is, I put the PR link, and yeah, the main contributor of the code is Julian Falik from Google. And basically, I'm working with Dominic, who is here today, with like on integrating it into our repository. Okay, so how it looked before. So before this, any OpenLineage events generated by Hive looked something like this, which is not really that great. And with the integration, we moved to something like this, which is a great improvement, but you know, the bar was set pretty low, like from nothing to something. Yeah, basically what you can expect is a standard OpenLineage event. As we can see, there are some facets. But yeah, going into more detail, what do we actually have? The facets that we support right now are processing engine run facet, Hive properties facet, schema dataset facets for inputs and outputs, the same with symlinks, and the column lineage dataset facet with transformation types. So that is that. There is also things that we currently do not have, but yeah, but basically our limitations is that if we, for example, compare to Spark, there is a lot less states, let's say, that trigger the emitting of the OpenLineage events. So in case of Hive, there is only two types of operations that will emit OpenLineage events. This is query and create table as select. That means no like normal create table or insert or anything like that will trigger the event. So that is, well, that's a shame. And another limitation is we only emit the events on post-execution hook and on failure hook. That means that only types of events that we can get from Hive integration are the complete or failed. So that means that we do not have the start or running or anything like that. And yeah, the other limitation, you know, there could always be more facets. That's something to be worked on. Going further. Yeah, how do we run this? Like again, comparing, for example, to Spark, there is not really something we can do on the, like, in a moment that we want to run some query. In Hive, you have to basically note that you will be using the Hive OpenLineage hook. You have to note it in the properties when you start the Hive. Well, in most cases, that means when you start the cluster, you need to basically note that you will be using Hive OpenLineage hook, but that's basically all that you need to do. Okay, I'm gonna go to the demo I prepared. Yeah, so basically there is a simple, maybe not so simple, script that I'm using to create myself a Dataproc cluster, but really the only important parts are the ones in here. Basically, that means that I'm just putting some OpenLineage jar from GCS during the initialization of the cluster. So we can use the jar. And yeah, I set the property to use the OpenLineage hook. And for the purposes of the demo, I set the transport type to console so we can see just what is happening. And right now I'm gonna just go with this, for example, simple query where we create a simple table and do as simple as possible query. So it would be simple. And now we just wait a bit. I let myself create a cluster before, so we don't have to wait for it right now, but we will just need a little moment to make Hive do its thing. Yeah, so what we would expect is that in here, there is only one create table as select. That means that we are expecting only one event created by this query. And I mean, there's a create table as select, so we expect only this one and only complete. And here we have the event, and we should have it in a moment in more readable way. Yep. Yeah, so as we can see, there is only one event, and it's event complete. We have a processing engine facet, Hive properties, exactly what you could expect. Inputs, here we have a schema facet, standard. Yeah. Going on, yeah. So here we can see that in the column lineage, we indeed have transformation types because there is only simple operations. There is only the direct ones. We have identity, we have transformation, and also the symboling facet. So this is the simplest event. We want to go to the complex one, just run it quickly. Yeah, let's go to the complex one. Yeah, so in the complex example, I mean, a bit more complex, we are creating two tables, and the expression basically is like example to showcase some aggregations, group bys, order bys, joins. So basically, you would like to have some indirect column lineage, and we just wait. Okay, let's skip the first part and go directly to the column lineage. As we can see, we have as in the output, we have sale date category. So we can see this would be, yeah, field category. Oh yeah, category. This is a sale date. Unique products. We have transformations. We have aggregation, which is which reflects the the aggregation operations. And what we can also see that there are the dataset indirect dependencies, which are corresponding to the join that we see here, and filter for the where. I don't see the where, but it's definitely here somewhere. And group by and sort. So, so yeah, basically there is all the basic information we would like to have about what came from where. So that's basically what is the output of our integration when we run the Hive queries. Yeah, and that's basically it from me from this quick presentation. And any questions?
Thank you, Tomasz.
Thanks.
That's pretty cool. My first question is like on the consumer side. So there's no start event, right? And I know a bunch of consumers kind of have an implementation where like, okay, we have a start event, we wait for a bunch of things and complete and then aggregate. So consuming the Hive integration data, did you have to make any changes on the consumer side to handle this?
Well, what exactly do you mean on the changes on
any learnings basically from like being able from now having an integration that kind of only emits complete events or complete or fail, like terminal events and not the start events.
Yeah, so as this was like on a, let's say, production-ish level only tested with Google products, which is Dataplex, they do not really care about the event type that much. I mean, they're completely fine with only complete. As for other consumers, well, if it's an issue, then it's probably we will have to implement some way to take the start events too. It's just basically it's probably a really good feature. It's just not here yet.
It's very useful to calculate the duration of a job at least. And of course have information that the job is running but not yet finished.
Yeah.
So it would be very useful.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, my stand on it is that's a feature that should be implemented. It's just not implemented yet.
Okay, but there's no, like, in the way that it's implemented right now, there's no reason, like we could technically hook into the start. Okay.
As OpenLineage contributors, we can do it anytime. Yes.
My question is about the part where it's only working for selected transformation, selected like operations, right? Query, create table as select. Is there some technical limitations around this, or like it is what it is right now?
More it is what it is. I mean, it's just it's not even that, you know, you have some general like for example in Sparks there is nothing like visitors that have to do something here or there. It's more like in the hook itself you are just basically like hard-coded the limitation to only handle those kind of queries, mostly because that was like the reasonable low-ish hanging fruit, let's say, right?
Makes sense.
I had a question on the SQL part. So basically the column lineage, you were able to get it by using like already like a SQL parser available in OpenLineage, or was it?
No, Hive actually has something like, okay, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, so there is a visualization of the structure. So when you have a query, you have a Hive parser that will construct the execution, like all the tasks that are necessary by basically, parsing the query, semantic analyzation. You basically you get the query plan. There is that is something that Hive just has, and the hook itself only uses the query plan object because it basically already contains all the entity information, inputs, outputs, and stuff.
Okay, it contains the AST of the query, basically. Okay. Like with the operators, with the aggregations, with the like.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, it's like if you want to compare it to other systems that we handle, like I'm most familiar with Spark. It's not exactly like a Spark plan. I mean, it's not structured exactly that way, but you basically have it like parsed to the really easy readable form. I mean, it's not as direct as in Spark. I mean, it's at least it's a bit harder to read for me, but yeah, basically you're getting something along like something similar to Spark Plan. Ish.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
This is awesome. So since there are no more questions and we have some time left, so I know Daniel wanted to bring up a discussion topic. So the floor is yours, Daniel.
Thank you very much. So I pushed onto the Slack channel last night, first thing this morning. Sorry, it's all blended into one or the other. We have been asked by a client recently to get a view on compliance status across the market, so across the ecosystem on the OpenLineage standard. So I've put a blog post up on berrynode.com. I'm happy to share my screen, just walk everybody through the table if that's helpful. And just really asking the OpenLineage community for their view on the compliance state. So we've tried to build a bit of a table, color code it, and categorize it so it's a little bit easier to read and get a bit of a view on where those compliance are at, public announcements, etc., and as close as factually correct as we could possibly get. So please feel free to challenge if we've rated anything incorrectly or have not understood a compliance level. Absolutely, please feel free to come back to us and have us correct. And that's particularly to the vendor representative on the call. If we've not represented the compliance state right, please come back to us and correct it for us, because we'd like to get that right and like that to be a resource for the whole community. We've already started to go to some of the vendors and ask them to validate our views, and that's already happening, which has been super nice. They've come back very quickly. So yeah, just wanted to flag that. There is a post on the Slack channel for those to reference it. So you can come back to me on Slack or LinkedIn or wherever.
That's awesome. Thanks for starting that. If you're willing, it would also be cool to contribute that to the OpenLineage website.
Yeah, sure.
Our ecosystem page is a good start, but we're always looking to improve it. So a few ideas that have floated in the past is like a compatibility matrix with even going deeper into the details of what exactly is supported in each integration, which facets get emitted, How deep
Yeah,
can
it's
you?
pretty high level at the moment. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think Marche, I think you're speaking, and I'm trying to work out a way to get to the Warsaw meeting. So thank you very much for those that are organising that. I think you're speaking on test specs and test validation, which would have been a really
Tomasz.
interesting.
Yeah, that's
Oh, is that Tomasz? Oh, sorry, Tomasz.
not a problem.
I'm trying to work out how to get over there, but I might unfortunately have to be in APAC. Yeah, I think that'd be an amazing topic to work out a validation suite.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that is something that we are currently like working on, right? But to be honest, just as a quick word on that, it's because like Harald said, that's like we want to get the compatibility test on the level of facets, it's like more detailed, and it's because, for example, when I saw that you have Google Cloud's Dataplex, like it's fine that Dataplex can read OpenLineage events from BigQuery and HiveSpark, whatever. But yeah, there are like, I would not call it really that mature in the sense that they basically do not extract any data from it. Like they can take inputs and outputs, but that's like really surface level information, right? Um, and in that way, like the Dataplex, I mean, I'm obviously talking only about Dataplex itself, because, for example, when you have their support for the, like Dataprog BigQuery, for example, then like that's quite mature. I mean, they basically expose as much information as in anything in OpenLineage, right?
Yeah, and the upshot of your point, Tomasz, is like that compliance level we're tracking at the moment is at the highest level. To your point, that's where, you know, again, I saw the agenda and I was excited and glad we're working on it around what compliance actually means, right? What maturity actually means. The definition that we've put there is working, and that's, you know, hands up that it's a working definition. I wouldn't say it's complete. And happy to engage with this community to refine it and work on it, and yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah,
So I
but
just wanted.
what I want to also say about it is that like the compliance on the level of facets data sources, it's good. It's one thing, but I think that like we should also have something like a high level compliance matrix, let's say, because from like my experience with that, it's one thing, it can be quite difficult to define actually what's like how compliant something is with OpenLineage. I mean, like if you go beyond simple compliant, not compliant, I mean, ingests OpenLineage for consumers, for example, ingests OpenLineage or does not ingest OpenLineage, or produces something with like according to our standard or does not. But if you want to go anywhere beyond this, so it's if it's mature, if it's like anything like that, it's really actually hard to define and even harder to make any standardized or automated process uh, to like categorize it. Yeah.
Yep. I
So
agree with everything you just said. Absolutely. And I think that's where, again, we've caveated the post by saying it's working definition. We wouldn't hold it up as gospel. And hence we're opening it up to the community to comment and challenge and have the conversation of likes of this around what do we actually mean by compliance at what level, whether it's whether it's run facets. I mean, the presentation today about DBT reporting, right? Around that's a great example. Okay, well we're only getting it on completion or not, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. I just want to echo what others have said about how great this is, and thank you so much for doing this work. I'm kind of curious about maybe this is better for offline, but who your contacts might be at places like Monte Carlo and Big Eye. some of these are new to me, and I'm kind of curious about the status of open metadata. So maybe if we could sync, offline.
Yeah. So funny enough, that was one of the things that's missing. And we're cognizant of missing, plus some of the other vendors that are more. So, Mike, I think you've heard my presentation before. I'm predominantly financial services, and some of the predominantly financial services vendors are missing as well. The likes of Solidatus, etc. So we need to, and the legacy ETL vendors like Ab Initio and those guys. So we need to start tracking those as well. So again, the list is draft, the valuation is draft, and absolutely please challenge, throw rocks, contribute, and absolutely happy. And Harold, maybe you and I can catch up online on absolutely happy to do a push, do a PR on the doc into the repo or not, or however you want me to raise an issue or whatever. So if you could just ping me offline or even on the thread on Slack, and I'll just follow your advice.
Yeah, definitely. Love to work with you on that.
Thank you for the floor for A or B.
Thanks for sharing. All right, folks. Any last topics?
I have a quick question. It's maybe a little bit random, but it's in the Spark world. So with Glue, I know currently on the website it says that we don't support, or OpenLineage doesn't support dynamic frames. I remember a while back working on this issue, and I just wanted to clarify: is this something that, like, on AWS's side, they need to implement something so that OpenLineage can hook into this, or is it something that's just like not feasible ever? Or if there's any update on that?
I am not the person to ask, honestly, but let's see if anyone here on the call can shed light here. No.
I can always
Okay.
post in Slack.
Let's post this question to Slack. There are a few usual suspects for a deep dive on Spark that once you post it, I can also try to chase it down.
Cool. Yeah, I'll do that.
For example, the best I can say for the moment is I probably know people that were working on like AWS Glue, but that's the best, right? Like that's the best from me right now.
Yeah, we do have also members of the OpenLineage community from AWS. So they could chime in as well.
Sounds good.
Sorry, no answer on the call, but it's a good question to ask, Luke.
That's all good.
All right. Well, with that, I'll give everyone 3 minutes back into their day, and it was great seeing you all. See you next time.
Thank you.
See you, Harold.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for the presentations.